Welcome to Hochoka Podcast.
What happens when a researcher and doctor in public health and an alum of St. Joseph's who herself works and pursues studies in healthcare have the opportunity to get to know one another? Let's find out. Hello, Matakiepi. Welcome to Hochoka, here at the center of St. Joseph's Indian Schools campus. I'm Scott Wooster, your Hochoka host.
And I'm Danielle Chuchu, a 2018 graduate of St. Joseph's Indian Schools High School program, and I co-host today with Scott.
Today, we're joined by Dr. Melanie Nadu, Graduate Program Director and Assistant Professor at the Indigenous Health PhD program at the University of North Dakota, Grand Forks School of Medicine and Health Sciences. She is an enrolled citizen of the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians in Belcourt, North Dakota. Dr. Mel works in the public health field and is an accomplished researcher who specializes in social behavior epidemiology. As a community-led scholar, she has nearly 20 years of research experience within the Native American community. This week, she's on campus to support our work to create and implement an Indigenous evaluation framework for our programs. So with that, we welcome you, and it's an honor to have you here at Hochoka.
Miigwech. Baju, Joani Gijigoikwe Indigenous Cause, Makwa, Indudum, Mikaнаkwaju, and Dujabar. So, Melanie Nadu. My spirit name is Southern Sky Woman, and I am bear clad, and I am from the Turtle Mountain Band of Chippewa Indians. So, thank you for having me.
Absolutely, Wopila. And I've known Danielle for a long time. She was a student here with us for 10 years. Roughly on and off for 10 years, I would say. Graduated from Chamberlain High School and St. Joe's Indian Schools program.
Yep.
And I'll let you give your introduction.
Mandakiepi Hochokawakawi Machiepi. My Lakota name is Sacred Center Woman. I'm from Rosebud, but the community I'm from is from Parmalee.
Absolutely. It's great to have you here. I always love to have our students and our alumni come back and be on the program. So you're awesome. It's good to have you here. In future podcasts that we have, we're gonna dive in with you a little bit more on what you're doing here with us at St. Joe's to help improve the services that we provide. And but in this particular podcast, we want to get to know your personal story. We're going to get personal here, okay?
Okay.
And who better to do that than Danielle? I think she'll be excellent, and because she's pursuing a path in healthcare, and that's been a path in your life as well. So it just made sense to bring the two of you together.
Dr. Mel, I'm curious what led you to follow a career in healthcare?
That's an interesting question. So it brings me back to when I was in third grade, and I was on the news. I was living in Fargo, North Dakota that time, and the news station had came into our school, and I was doing this little skit, and I think I had an alcohol swab or something, of that nature, and I was pretending doctoring someone up, and I don't know, I just like that moment, being highlighted in that moment of helping others. The way that it made me feel to serve in that capacity, or potential envision myself serving in that capacity, really meant a lot to me. And as one of our, values as Native people, to live a good life is to be in service to others, because what you give, you're going to get back 10 times as much. And so, and that's proven true over my lifetime. And so and then there's also a cultural teaching that if you really pay attention to your youth, they know what they want to do. They know their purpose, And so if we listen to our youth and from a traditional perspective, you kind of know what you're intended for, and if the people around you support and cultivate that, you'll end up on your pathway. And I've had these, over my lifetime, I've had these moments where I just know that I'm doing exactly what I'm supposed to be doing, and it's a great feeling.
Mm-hmm. Was there something else too? Was there something with a loss that led you into the healthcare field that you want to talk about?
Yeah, so Well, so for me, as a Native person, I've experienced a lot of loss. And I think that Native people can relate to that. I've been going to funerals since I was a kid. So, I haven't had, my grandfather. I never had the opportunity to meet my dad's parents. They were already deceased by the time I was born. On my mother's side, my grandfather died when I was 7. My grandmother died when I was 15. And then my mom died when I was 25. And that's not including like all of my aunts and uncles that have passed away and my cousins. I have 20 plus aunts and uncles if you put both sides of my family together. So I come from a really big family that has experienced a lot of loss. And growing up with that loss you want to help. You want to help change things. You want to help make, a difference for the people so that, like, I don't want my grandchild to experience that. You just want to make the world a better place so that they don't have to go through that.
Absolutely.
But the most significant loss was my mother, of course. And, she passed away from cancer, and I was a undergraduate at the time. And I took care of her till the day she passed. And it really impacted me a lot. And so I just wanted to continue to, she used to tell me, she'd say, my girl, do what you love. Do what you love, because if you do what you love, you're not going to work a day in your life. And everybody's always asked me why I work so much. Like last night I was like up at, 12:30 still working, but I mean, it's because I love what I do.
You do? Yeah.
I absolutely love what I do. And so it's what I worked really hard to do what I want to do. And I feel very privileged that I am able to do what I love to do. So, and I feel that the work that I'm doing is absolutely having an impact on the larger community, and I'm in a place where I'm training scholars now. I never ever thought that would happen. And so we had our first 4 graduates last year, and that to me was just surreal. And I feel like if I passed away, if I keeled over right now and fell over, that I'd be good with it, because I feel like I've had an impact. I could see the impact that my career has had, and that it is having, and that I know that that's going to live on long after I'm gone. And so it's a good feeling. You get to chip away at some things that have been very troubling in your community and in your life. And I'm sure your mom is very proud of you and is smiling down on you. Oh, she is.
Absolutely. And I'd be remiss if I don't ask the question, what got you into healthcare? I know you're the podcast host with me, but
it was interesting when Dr. Mel was talking about when you listen to your youth and they kind of know what they want to do when they grow up. When I was in 7th grade, I kind of knew I wanted to go into healthcare, but I wasn't sure where. And when I was 19, I started working as a CNA, and I just fell in love with taking care of people. And then COVID hit, and it just made me want to help take care of people more. And Richard had a nephew my husband, that he had lost. He didn't have the appropriate care he needed on the reservation that he's from. And I wasn't sure where I was going or how I was going to get there, but I knew I wanted to help take care of children in the healthcare setting. And eventually, I still don't know how I'm going to get there or when I'm going to get there, but I want to eventually go back to the reservation and work at the hospital and help kind of give back to the community that helped raise me.
And trust that path will open up to you in the way it's supposed to. I know you do, from what I know of you. It's scary sometimes, but trust that path. And your family is proud of you as well. And I'll speak for all of us at St. Joe's. We're extremely proud of you. So keep it up, and we're behind you. We support you. So the woman who sits with us today, Dr. Mel, who are you? What do you do exactly? We have a little bit of an outline here. What Danny and I would like to know is we want to know a little more. We're going to play a little game we call Rapid Fire. Are you familiar with that game?
Sure.
Yeah. Basically, we shoot questions at you. You answer them. It's that simple. So I'm going to let Danny start with the first one here.
Okay. We are going to throw some descriptors used about you, and we'd like you to explain what they mean, but in a brief, as few words as possible to help us understand. So the first one is Indigenous scholar.
So I was attending an event, and one of the leaders in the field said that coined the new term that I hadn't heard, and this is just a few weeks ago, indigenous. So like scientist, but an indigenous. And I'm like, I love that. And so basically an indigenous scholar is an indigenous. So it's an indigenous person that uses Western and or indigenous methodologies to ground the work that they do.
I like it. Community-led researcher.
Doing what your community tells you to do.
Yeah.
Community health educator.
Working to make the world a better place at the community level.
Social behavior epidemiologist.
Looking at the things that affect communities at the social level and how that affects the individual, all the way from individual behavior all the way up to policy change.
Okay.
Mixed methodologist.
An expert in the application of quantitative and qualitative data.
Indigenous evaluator.
Using indigenous worldview and thought process to inform the work that you do if you're evaluating or assessing initiatives.
Okay. Okay.
Thank you for that, Dr. Mel. I'm 2 years into my studies, and when I listen to you talk about those various roles, is there a story behind the path that unfolded?
Yes. So when I went through this, the education system, I really did not have an understanding that there's different schools of thought, and they're all based on different worldviews. I didn't know that. I had this epiphany when I was in school, and I was like, what the heck am I doing in this program? This is like the polar opposite of my worldview, being trained as a social behavioral epidemiologist. And when I was in the program, I realized that the program that I was in, and I had this moment of like, what am I doing? Maybe this isn't the program that I should be in. And my advisor told me, she said, knowing what doesn't work is just as important, if not more important, than knowing what works. Because you can't advocate for change if you don't know why something doesn't work. And so that was one of those moments like, oh, I'm on my right path. Okay, that's good to know. For some reason, ever since I can remember, I've just had a love for turtles. And I've collected them, just collect different knickknacks and different turtles. And I have a huge collection to this day. And all of those turtles, they give me memories of things that have happened, throughout my life. And when I was in this Headland summer program, when I was 19, I got accepted to this program out in Mackinac City, Michigan. And there was approximately 20 students from across the United States that were accepted to this program out of over 100 applicants. And so I ended up going to this program out in Michigan for 8 weeks intense, and they said, this is not a vacation, you're going to be just taking a deep dive into math, science, presenting on who you are, who your people are. And ironically enough, Mackinac City, Michigan is a place where my ancestors were. And so if you look there's a lot of history there. And so looking at if you look at the art and what they all have on display over there, it's like all from my ancestors. because my ancestors were there at one point. So that was a really powerful moment for me. And when I was there, I wrote a couple of poems, and one of them was an I am poem, and it was I am on a turtle's walk, and it was a really powerful poem. And at one point, I wanted to leave that program. I just didn't feel like I fit in. The other natives that were accepted there, their families were privileged, like they were like second generation. Like I was the only first generation college student, or aspire. Well, I had already been in college, but I didn't succeed. Like I went one semester, didn't succeed, and then I went to this program. And so I was really just kind of feeling out of my element, and I don't belong here. And then one of the counselors said, no, you're exactly the type of student that needs to be here. This program was designed for someone like you. And so I decided to stay. And when I finished that program, things just started taking off, and I just pursued every opportunity that I could as I was going along my pathway. And eventually I decided that I wanted to learn how to do digital stories, because stories are really important to Native people, and to be able to capture that and share that out. And so I did a digital story, and I weaved my poem into the story. And I was like, geez, I did this when I was 19 years old, and it's been how long? And that I've been on this turtle's walk. And when I did that story, it was so crazy, because when I wrote it, I didn't realize that I was writing the story of my life. Mm-hmm. And that eventually I'd write do a digital story and integrate that, and it would be true, still true. And so and then the other thing is, I was in a ceremony during COVID, and they were talking about the turtle, and they said, yeah, the turtle is the slowest, on the land, but in the spirit world, it's the fastest. And I was like, wow, that's pretty amazing. Mm-hmm. So I'm just now getting started.
Yeah, right?
Yeah, so.
Right.
Yep.
And I think that we have such an interesting juxtaposition here with somebody who went. You told, just to be clear, and I'm not sure you even heard this, Danny, but off air we talked, and I said, to put it mildly, you took a circuitous route to get to where you are today. Yes. I asked you if hey, you went to UND. Well, yeah, sure.
Yeah.
Sure. That was part of the journey. And
yes.
In the meantime, I went to here and there and to a lot of different places. And we talk about paths. And so, I mean, your path literally wandered all over the place and was that slow journey to get to where you are.
Yes.
And I'm looking at, a student who's just beginning that journey and I think it's important for folks to know, young people to know, that it's not always going to just work out exactly the way you wanted. The one program isn't going to be. Can you speak to that? Can you offer that to her? Or do you have something to say about that?
I think it's true. It's not just, black and white. I'm 24, and I feel like I've been all over the place, and it's taking me forever to get where I want to be. And a lot of times I also feel like I don't belong, but I have some really amazing instructors and just an amazing support system. And eventually I will get where I want to be. And it's slow. Yeah. It's not as fast as I want to go, but it's just taking a little bit longer.
Yeah. Yep. And try this on for size too, is that every part of that process, you are where you're supposed to be, and that's part of the process. Dr. Mel talks about this as the process of what we do, whether you're evaluating a school or a community or any of those kinds of things, or finding your own path. It's all a process.
Yes, and I always say it, like in my work, and I've said it, over my journey. Trust the process. Mm-hmm. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. My mom used to tell me everything happens for a reason. You might not see that reason right away, but then eventually, you'll see that reason. And that has happened so many times in my life where I thought like, oh, geez, why'd this happen? And really down about a particular moment. And then eventually I'm like, oh, that's what happened. I learned something that I was able to help this person with because I understood and I had an understanding of that pain or that event, and I was able to use that to help another person to get through their, pain or event. And so when you live in that way and understand that everything happens for a reason, I think it just adds to your resilience and allows you to space to keep going.
Can you delve more into your specific path that got you to where you are? And I just think it might be helpful for Danielle or for our young people.
Yeah, so, I'm a first-generation college student, and even now I'm first-generation in academia, in the academic setting. And so that's huge to be in that space and to be driving change at that level. But I never thought I'd be there. But, so I've had, along my path, things didn't work out. I know, like, when my mom had died of cancer, I had withdrew too late or something happened to where I ended up having to pay back the university like $5,000. And when you're a broke college student when you come from a poor family, my family was poor. I didn't have any way I could call up and say, hey, can you give me $200 or lend me $200 till payday? Like, I didn't have those people in my life. That was like, that could have been the end for me, to where I didn't go back.
That's a give up moment.
Yeah, that's like a give up moment. Like, oh, okay, this isn't meant to be. But I didn't. I kept going, and I said, turtles walk. Like, if you're moving in the right direction, even if it's little tiny baby steps, you're bound to get there by design. So as long as you're moving that way, you're eventually going to get there. And instead of focusing on there, focus on I'm making strides forward. I tell my students that. There's a lot of students that fall off, like, because I work with doctoral students, and there's a lot of students that fall off at the dissertation phase. But it's like, don't give up. Keep going. Get up and write 15 minutes a day. Work on your goal 15 minutes a day. If you don't think you can do it any longer, just do it like 15 minutes a day. And if you keep on being consistent like that, you're eventually going to get where you want to go. And you're going to find if you work on your goal 15 minutes a day, it's going to end up a lot longer than 15 minutes. It's just breaking that barrier and that mindset of getting in the mindset, I need to work on this so I can move forward with where I want to be.
Right.
So.
And turtle doesn't walk or doesn't get where it's going without taking the first step. And
Yep.
Yeah, that's a big deal.
Yep.
I don't want to steal your thunder, because you have a piece to this too. I used to, full disclosure to our audiences that I work with. I worked with your husband, Richard Tutu.
Yes.
He's from Oglala, right? And so if people think that an Oglala and a Sichangu can't get married, it's true. They did right here. They did. They're living proof that it works. He just, what you tell it, where he just became what?
He just became the chief of police in Kimball, and it was hard for him. It was different. He's different. He doesn't really like school. So for him to sit down and study all the time, 24/7, he was gone Monday through Friday at the police academy in Pierre. And he would call me and he'd say, it's hard. And I'm like, you just have to keep going. And he also has this little saying from Finding Nemo that just keep swimming. It doesn't get any easier. That's what got him through, to just keep swimming and just keep moving forward and just taking everything one day at a time. So,
and I just to flesh that story out just a touch more, Richard came to St. Joe's when he was probably a first or second grader.
I believe first grade he came.
Yeah, he was just a little guy. He had been involved in a really tragic accident where he was hit by a pickup in Pine Ridge and shattered his leg, and spent years and years in the healthcare system,
right,
going to Children's Hospital in Minneapolis and seeing the healthcare field from that vantage point. But the point is, he had to work very hard to even get to where,
he's at.
To be here in school and to find his way and not be able to play ball and not be able to run and do some of those things that the other kids did was hard for him. So he ends up going and making it through this program, and he is in Kimball. We talked about this 20 miles east of here. He's the police chief, big guy, bigger when he throws on a bulletproof vest and a uniform, right? He's imposing, and I find it really interesting that his inspiration is a tiny little blue fish voiced by Ellen DeGeneres, but that's what got him through, and I love that he just keeps going on, and he's accomplished quite a bit. So I say thank you to you for being here at Ho-Chokeh, and thank you for being here on St. Joe's Indian School's campus to work with our kids and to work with us as staff and our community. Welcome, and we'll keep talking in some more podcasts.
Thank you.
Absolutely. You're welcome to come back anytime. It was great to visit with you.
Thank you.
Absolutely. And to our viewers, thank you for joining us here at Ho-Chokeh at the center of St. Joseph's Indian School's campus, where we talk about issues that are central to Native American education today. Until next time, stay centered.